それでは今日ですね、テッド・クルーズ議員、そしてリク・ペイリー知事、さらに今、マックワーナー州務長官にお話をいただきましたけれども、アメリカにおいて第38代連邦造幣局長としてブッシュ政権の下でですね、本当力強くお金のことに取り組んでこられ、さらに今このクリプトカレンシー、暗号通貨の時代にあって、ある意味アメリカのですね、金融業界、それから銀行業界含めまして、本当に引っ張りだこでですね、ブロックチェーンの世界を牽引してくださっている、私たちも本当にずっと長い間支持を仰いでいて、さまざまなことを勉強させていただいているエドモイ連邦造幣局長より、今日3人の話を受けた上でですね、今民主主義とブロックチェーンというテーマで私たちにぜひ伝えていただきたいことをこれからお話しいただければと思います。それではエドモイ、よろしくお願いします。
Minasan konnichiwa. Greetings from Washington, D.C. To my friends and fellow Liberty ecosystem supporters, I really miss seeing you, and I hope that next year we can finally meet again in person. For those of you who are listening who do not know me, my name is Ed Moy. I'm the former director of the United States Mint, and I am a passionate advocate about cryptocurrency and blockchain projects. And the ones that I really focus on are the ones that can make a positive impact in our world. That's why I consider it a privilege to be able to provide advice to the Liberty ecosystem and being a friend of the Japanese Conservative Union. I also wanted to take a moment to thank JCPAC founder and chairman of the JCU, Jay Aiba, for his generous support of me. You are a good friend, Aiba-san, and I admire your leadership and efforts to be a beacon of freedom in Japan and Asia. Well, it's been more than a decade since Satoshi Nakamoto's famous white paper that created Bitcoin. His purpose was to create a decentralized currency system as opposed to a centralized currency system that exists as a government monopoly today. So in other words, cryptocurrency is a new currency that takes power away from the government and returns it to the people. And he called this new currency Bitcoin. And to make Bitcoin the most secure, trusted form of money in the world, it uses the most advanced cryptography and a new technology known as the blockchain. So I want to spend some time focusing on what I consider 5 of the most important cryptocurrency and blockchain trends that you should be aware of. The first one is that cryptocurrency investing has now become mainstream. Think of this. Since my last speech last December, 12 months ago, Bitcoin had reached a new historic high of $23,500 USD when I gave my speech. And 12 months, fast forward to today, Bitcoin has reached a new high of $69,000. Now it's come back just a little bit, but boy, those are huge returns that have gotten the attention of a lot of people. And so that's attracted investors beyond just the young and tech-savvy people to virtually all parts of the population. Virtually any demographic you can think of has now gotten interested in cryptocurrency as an investment. Well, all this interest has gotten the attention of the federal government regulators, which leads me to my next trend. The second trend I want to discuss is that we should expect more government involvement and more government regulation in the short term overseeing cryptocurrency. So in America, all this success that cryptocurrency has gotten has piqued the interest of Congress and the White House. But both Congress and the executive branch are led by political liberals. And what does that mean? It means that liberal political philosophy generally distrusts the people, or decentralization, and it trusts the government or more centralization. I agree with Senator Cruz. The policies that are being pursued right now in the US government will raise taxes and increase regulation on cryptocurrencies. And what some of these regulations are trying to do is remake cryptocurrencies into something that the government can more easily control. So you can expect governments to use their monopoly position on money to try to minimize the effectiveness of cryptocurrencies. And that leads me to the third trend that I want to discuss, and that is expect governments to compete against cryptocurrencies by developing its own cryptocurrency. There are central banks that are exploring producing their own digital version of their fiat currency. This is known among my community as central bank digital currency, or CBDCs. And it's just not it's not an idea that the smaller banks are pursuing. Important central banks like the Bank of England are currently exploring developing their own central bank digital currencies. Even the Federal Reserve in the United States is doing research. The Federal Reserve Bank of Boston has teamed up with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, to produce a couple papers before the end of the year on what a digital currency for the United States might look like. But the People's Bank of China is farthest along this path. They call their central bank digital currency, they call it the Digital Currency Electronic Payment System, and they've already developed it and have been testing it in 4 major Chinese cities. But there's one thing to be aware when governments get involved, particularly when the Chinese government gets involved. Central bank digital currencies might, on the surface, have many of the benefits of cryptocurrency, but ultimately, they are centralized government currencies pretending to be cryptocurrencies. For example, China's digital currency primarily benefits the government and not the people, because it allows the government to track the people's finances and spending, to automatically take taxes away from their money, and to confiscate their wealth if they do something wrong. It empowers the government to control its citizens, and that is exactly opposite of what Satoshi Nakamoto was trying to do when he was theorizing Bitcoin. But there's another way that governments can use this, and that is that cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology can also be used for good to strengthen the people, which leads me to the fourth trend I want to talk about, which is cryptocurrency and blockchain can be used for good purposes that benefit the people. Cryptocurrencies, when you use it as money, that is beginning to really grow. It's in essence a private sector alternative to government's monopoly on money. Let me give you an example. When Venezuela prohibited their citizens from taking money out of the country because those people didn't want their money eroded by 15,000% inflation each year, they couldn't move that money out from the banks because the government controlled how the money flowed out electronically. But they could not control citizens' use of the internet. And as a result, many citizens use Bitcoin to get around these unfair capital controls that the country was using. Another positive application is what we've been talking about during this session, and that is using the blockchain for voting. As Governor Perry said, a democracy can't thrive unless people are confident that their vote was accurately counted and there are no voting irregularities or fraud. He gave an excellent explanation of how blockchain technology can be used for voting. But this is more than a theory. it is just starting to become reality around the world. For example, in 2019, Indonesia used blockchain technology to verify 25 million votes. And Australia has also been doing testing on blockchain voting systems. In the United States, there's been a few smaller tests. As Secretary Warner described, West Virginia used the blockchain to allow internet voting for a small number of West Virginia citizens who were outside of West Virginia and didn't have easy access to be able to vote. Denver has followed suit. So I'm so glad to have advised Chairman Aiba and the Liberty ecosystem in creating a polling platform that was successfully used at the recent American CPAC convention in Texas. This is the first step taken to develop a voting platform that uses a blockchain. And because it proved successful, I believe it could lead the way to having another fraud-free voting system to be used for elections. Which brings me to the final trend that I wanted to share today. And that is, I believe that in the future, successful cryptocurrencies will have real world use. So what do I mean by that? Most of the current cryptocurrency investing is pure speculation. They go up and they go down, and it's all based on rumors and hype. And it reminds me a lot of what we call pump and dump penny stock schemes. And but I believe that the cryptocurrencies that will have value in the long run are the ones that have real use in the world, and that use benefits society and has a profitable business model associated with. So right now, it's just wild speculation, but in the future, things are going to settle down, and the cryptocurrencies that are going to prove valuable in the long run are the ones that have these real uses. And that is the goal, I believe, of the Liberty ecosystem, is that Liberty wants to become a cryptocurrency that will last and stand the test of time. Its potential voting platform has a real use as a solution to many of our current voting problems. I think it'll benefit society by ensuring the integrity of elections, and Liberty intends to do it profitably. But it won't be easy. There'll be many challenges in the days ahead, from overzealous regulators to politicians who want to control the technology, to the forces of communism and socialism who want democracy to fail. So I think it will be hard, but it is a worthy fight. And that's why your support and commitment is so important, because together we can truly make a difference in this area. So I want to thank you for listening and for fighting the good fight with the Japanese Conservative Union and the Liberty ecosystem. Ijede, arigato gozaimasu.
ありがとうございます。暗号通貨の未来、そしてブロックチェーンの民主主義における未来について非常に分かりやすく将来性も含めてエドモイに語っていただきました。本当にありがとうございました。